Good morning, welcome back for some more fall decorating. Now, I have already shared all of my front porch fall decor and I love the way that turned out. So if you're looking for some outdoor decorating ideas, I've got you covered and I'll link that video. But today we are stepping inside and we are going to be extending that cozy, warm, inviting fall feeling throughout basically the entirety of my house. We're going to be looking at my formal living room, my entryway, and also in my kitchen, sharing a ton of decorating ideas and really an involved full method of how I go about decorating my entire house for the fall season, and keeping in mind that I like to do everything on a budget, so I'll have a ton of budget-friendly decorating ideas and tips to save money without having to exclude yourself from seasonal homemaking, but also that I don't like to impede on the functionality of these spaces, so I will be keeping in mind that we live in this home and we want it to look pretty, but we also want it to function for us and for us to be able to enjoy it in our everyday routines. So I've got a ton to share with you, and I hope that by the end of this video you feel inspired to incorporate some of these tips, tricks, and ideas into your own space. And I think we are actually going to start in my formal living room area and entryway, since those are open to each other and it's also the first space that you walk into when you come into my home. Okay, so I'm going to start out by giving you an overview of this space. So you can see our front door there. You walk right in, and along this back wall we have our entryway table, and then directly across from that we have our formal living space, and I've kind of separated this off by using these two upholstered armchairs. So even though I have tried to create that divide with these armchairs, it is undeniable that these two spaces are open with each other, and because of that I try to keep a cohesive style and a natural flow throughout my decorating, especially in this more open area of my floor plan, while still respecting the individual functions of these spaces. And so in order to do that, I like to start by establishing a color palette through the textiles in the living space. Textiles, what a funny way of saying pillows and blankets. I've gathered a small collection of fall pillows and blankets to style on the furniture in my living room, and with the blankets in particular, I've been loving this method of just draping them over the armrest of a piece of furniture. So this chair and the sofa, I love how polished and put together this looks, but also love that it invites you to use it because it's literally right at your fingertips when you sit down. And then with pillows, I like to have a larger solid color in the back, and then in front of that a subtle texture or pattern, and then a focal point. So you can see that reflected here. I love the way that this turned out, and I think that it does a great job of setting the tone for not only this space but the rest of the decor throughout my home. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, then this color palette may feel very familiar to you, and that's because I have a really healthy mix of older and newer decor throughout every single year. I just kind of slowly build up my collection. So I've actually been using these two pillows for at least 3 years now. They were a Home Goods find several years ago, and I've just refreshed them with a couple of new pieces, mostly with this gorgeous block print pumpkin pillow. I found this last week and I love that the block pattern has that rusty red tone in it, but it incorporates a little something new with this like pumpkin spice stem color. And so that is one of the ways that I stay on budget, is I'm not afraid to reuse my decor from years past and just get a few key pieces to freshen it up and make things feel a little new, a little on trend without going overboard. And to offset the cost of those newer pieces, I have been loving earning money through Tester Up. So Tester Up is exactly what it sounds like. It's an app where you can find a wide selection of surveys, games, products, cosmetics, and review them or test them in order to earn money through PayPal payouts. And you can actually make your first payout to PayPal with as little as $70 within just 24 hours. The app is very user-friendly and intuitive. It's very smooth and easy to use, and you can earn up to $80 per job with more than 50 tasks available after registration. Registration and testing the app is free. You basically play games, solve tasks, answer surveys, and receive real money. It is truly the best, easiest, most convenient way that I have found to monetize my recreational time and add quick, easy money back into my budget to spend on the things that I love, like decorating and homemaking. TesterUp has excellent reviews on Trustpilot, and the game is free to download. So you can use the link in my description box or the QR code on screen, download TesterUp, and try it out for free today. Thank you so much to TesterUp for making it so easy for me to monetize my recreational time and for being my #1 budget hack for new fall decor. So thank you so much to TesterUp for partnering with me, sponsoring today's video, and helping me to fund my decor habit. But now that we have established the color palette through textiles and enjoyed the coziness of my couch for a few minutes, we're gonna move on to decorating throughout the rest of the surfaces in this space. Starting first with my coffee table, I do have a round coffee table in this room, which can be a bit tricky to style, but today I'm going to be using this larger statement vase and then also these gorgeous floral stems that have that rusty red burnt orange tone. And then I'm going to use the method of repetition, which is very aesthetically pleasing to the eye, and just add in a candle that's of a similar shape but a smaller scale. This is so beautiful and easy to do. I have shared the triangle method in this space before, but I felt like this was just perfect for fall, and it really lets those fall colors and tones be the focus as opposed to a bunch of decor. Now moving on to this small console right next to my front door, this is where we like to keep our dog leash, so I'm just going to add in an olive tree and then a leaf tray to corral the dog leash and let it be simple and minimal like that, and move on to this small side table in between our armchairs. And I didn't want this to be too overwhelming since this is close seating and we have that focal arrangement on the coffee table, so I just added in some mauve toned wildflower stems into this black vase for some contrast. Okay, I am loving how this living room has turned out so far. I feel like it's just the perfect pops of fall in here, and now we can move on to this entryway table. And this entryway table is a pretty long, substantial piece of furniture, and it does have these open cabinet doors down here, so I just keep these decorated in a very neutral way year long, and I swap out the top portion seasonally. I feel like larger pieces of furniture or just consoles in general can be a little bit difficult to style, and especially here in my entryway, I like to style this seasonally and for holidays, but we need it to function as an entryway space. So I've kind of developed this method or approach that has been foolproof for me basically since we first purchased this large console table, and that is to break the space up into smaller sections. So I have a couple of staple pieces that I basically always have here, and that is this lamp, because we do need lighting over in this space since there's no window or alternative light source, so I always keep this lamp. And then to balance out the height of that, I like to have this large planter vase, and I just set this over here. So it's a similar neutral color palette, a similar height, and it really does just balance out these two ends of the entryway and kind of frame the mirror that I have here. And then to break this up even further, I just use coffee table books. So I do a small book stack here and one here, and then I kind of have these little sections or zones of decor. So I have this one with this larger vase and book stack, I have this middle section, and then I have a third section here with the lamp. I like having these sections because it allows me to focus on a smaller area at a time. So right next to this lamp, I'm going to lean some season neutral artwork. I've actually been using this here since spring and I just love the way it looks. And then adding in a wooden tray for warmth and these 2 glass acorns that I found in my fall shopping video a couple of videos back. These were a great find and I love them. Then moving on, right next to that, I'm going to put a deeper toned wooden tray for all of our keys and our wallets, and then finishing this off with this burgundy berry arrangement that I think was actually part of a Target Christmas collection a few years ago, but I think it works perfectly for fall and in this color palette, and I love the way that this turned out. It's simple, it's neutral enough, it doesn't impede on the functionality of this space, and it really stands alone as its own area of our home while still kind of talking to and working with the living space, which is right across from it. Not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I may have outdone myself with this fall entryway. I love the way that this turned out. It's very simple and minimal while still feeling intentionally styled and seasonally appropriate, and it does not impede on the function of this space. We still have a drop zone for all of our keys and wallets, and everything an entryway is supposed to be, and also this cozy lighting ambiance for the evenings. We never use the overhead lighting. It is always this lamp, so I love that I'm able to incorporate more functional items into my decor, and also really loving this method of styling larger pieces of furniture like this. It truly does just make it so much easier and simple and enjoyable to decorate these spaces as opposed to overwhelming and something that I dread. It's one of those things that, like, once it clicks, it clicks. But speaking of things that I struggle with, it is time to move on to my fireplace bookshelf. This is probably one of my favorite pieces of furniture that I have ever owned, and when it's pretty, it is so pretty, but making it that way can be a bit of a headache. And I know I'm not alone in that. I feel like bookshelf styling, and especially an enclosed bookcase like this, can be very difficult for a lot of people. It's one of those things that it's very easy to start to overthink it, and when you overthink it, you can overcrowd it, and then you just aren't happy with what is happening. So I think probably my number one tip is that you should keep it minimal. You can always add more, but start with those base pieces that feel right and feel inspired, and then start building off of those. So we're going to style this now, and I'll just share with you kind of the method that I walk myself through every single time that I change out this decor. I always like to start by laying out all of the decor that I think that I might use on the shelves, and I like to look for pieces that are of varying heights and materials but still in that same color story, and then I start from the center and work my way out. So typically I have some statement vases here, but in the spirit of fall, I'm going to use these woven pumpkins, and I'm just closing the doors every single time to check on the placement of each piece of decor that I add in. And right above that, I have this gorgeous long wooden dough bowl. It is a deeper tone, and I have some contrast in there with a more neutral creamy color bowl filler. And then on the very top shelf, I'm going to lean some artwork. This is a printed framed canvas. It does not have a glass front. I find that trying to use actual photo frames in this space just don't work because the doors themselves are glass, and that double glass kind of prevents you from even seeing what's in there. And then right next to that, I'm going to use that trick of repetition with 2 ceramic pumpkins, and then moving down to this lower shelf, I have a marble tray that I've just placed some pillar candles on, and also all of our wooden games that we like to play with and use in this space. And I do love the way that this turned out, but seeing the bookcase completely styled like that just really leaves something to be desired with this fireplace. So I'm going to work on that first by displaying some fall artwork on my television, and I just search up free TV wallpapers on YouTube, and there's so much to choose from these days that you really don't need a frame TV itself. You can just display something decorating from YouTube. So I'm going to select a gorgeous print that has pumpkins and florals in it, and I felt like it really worked with the rest of the room. And then move on to my mantle space, which is a smaller shelf right above the fireplace. And because it's smaller, I can get away with using just one single piece of garland. So I actually found this one in that same leaf and rusty burgundy red tone from the stems on the coffee table, and I'm going to accent that with some pillar candles. I really wish that instead of amber glass, they were like a iron, like a black iron for some contrast. I might put that on my to find list, but these will do for now. And then setting a pumpkin right next to them, and I'm really loving this asymmetrical look and how having everything offloaded to this one side really attracts your eye over that way, and you almost don't notice that small wall right there on the other side of the fireplace. Okay, so now that I have my formal living room, entryway, fireplace, and bookcase all styled for fall, we're going to move into the kitchen and share some of those decorating ideas. Now, my kitchen is right off of that living room in the floor plan of our home, and it's a pretty small, long, narrow space. This is basically it. I do have this coffee station that I DIY'd a few months back, and I love to decorate this. And then opposite of that, we have all of our cabinets and countertop space, which is essentially this small L shape. Now, because the kitchen is so small, and we are especially limited with our countertop space, I do try to keep the decor in here very minimal, and instead of overcrowding the countertop with a bunch of decorative items, I try to make everyday functional pieces as aesthetic as possible so that they also function as decor, and you will see that as a theme throughout this entire kitchen. So these are not only aesthetic fall decorating ideas, but it's full of practical functional pieces so that I don't compromise the integrity of my kitchen space. And because it is so close to that living room entryway area, I do like that same or similar color palette to flow through this space, because you can see into my kitchen standing at the front door, and you can see into the living room or entryway sitting at my kitchen table. So you will see that recurring color palette, and that allows for a more cohesive flow throughout my entire home, but it also allows me to be very intentional when sourcing new decor to add to my collection every year. So I did lay out everything that I think I'm going to use in my kitchen and coffee station space, and you can see how that color palette is really carrying over, especially in these kitchen towels. I picked these up new last week, I think, and I just loved the floral pattern. I think it's because the grandma core is trending right now, so I'm seeing a lot more florals in the fall decor that's out in stores right now, and I love it. So I got those, and then I also grabbed some new floral stems to complement that. And I do think that my favorite thing about these kitchen towels is that they are a really fun, affordable way to participate in a trend. So the florals and the grandma core is trending right now, and I'm sure that'll stick around for a couple of years at least that I'll be able to use these. But this pack of towels was only $13, and I get 3 towels in them, so I'll be able to actually use these to wipe my hands, wipe the counters, and get some real everyday use out of them while still participating in a fun fall trend and making my decor collection or decor look for this year feel more modern and current. Everything else that I'll be using are pieces that I've had for years and years, and I'm just going to be reimagining them in new ways into the same space. So starting off with my countertop decor, I typically like to keep all of this against that back wall and leave as much open counter space as possible. But with these kitchen towels, I do like to have them throughout the entire kitchen to kind of keep your eye moving and the individual spaces talking with each other. So I'm hanging 2 of these on our dishwasher handle and 1 on our oven handle. And I just have to say again that I love these. They were such a good find. I think that they are so pretty, and I wanted to accent them over here in this little nook where I keep my cookbooks, oil and vinegar, and our countertop lamp, and hang a command hook with some oven mitts of a similar color and tone. And then also add on this Dutch oven to our stovetop. I've never had a Dutch oven before, but this was so beautiful that I couldn't not buy it. And I am excited to use it for fall soups and stews and maybe even sourdough bread, but it's so pretty that I felt like it would be a shame to keep it locked away in a cabinet, and instead I thought this would be perfect to just keep right out on the stovetop. And while I love this pumpkin cinnamony color, it does also come in a creamy white if you like more neutral decor, so I'll leave both of those links down in my description box. But I love the way that that stovetop area was turning out, and so now we're going to move to the left of it where I keep this marble tray, and I'm going to use a taller fall arrangement to cover that outlet and add in a spoon rest, and then move on to this corner with my cutting boards and cake stand. This will be full of fall baked goods soon enough, but for now I'm going to display some bagels and then add in this gorgeous amber glass food safe pumpkin canister with some donuts in them, and then also this clear pumpkin canister with some dried oranges that I made last year. And I feel like this was the perfect touch of fall for this kitchen space. So that's pretty much it for my countertop decor, and now I'm going to move on to my coffee station and just set this up with some fall touches while still keeping it functioning as a coffee station. And one way that I really like to do that is by finding aesthetic ways to store our coffee pods instead of just having them sitting out or in boxes like this. So I actually have this woven pumpkin that I think I got from Home Goods last year, and I've just put all of my espresso pods in here. These are the ones that are more multicolored. There's some that are a yellow color and some that are blue. And those are my favorite flavors. So I'm going to store all those multicolored ones in this woven pumpkin canister so that you can't see through it. And then this is what I typically keep all of our pods in, and it's just this glass canister with a brushed gold metal lid. I got this from the Target dollar spot, I think 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, and I got a whole slew of them actually, and I kind of changed them out where I use them and what I use them for, but lately I've been using them for pods, and I do like the way that these look. It has this brushed gold here, which complements the hardware in the kitchen, so I want to keep it incorporated in this space, and I thought a great way to do that would be to add in some seasonal coffee pods. So we have the Starbucks pumpkin spice, and the reason why I'm going to put these in the clear glass container is because they are orange for the pumpkin spice flavor. So this is a great pop of orange in this color palette without being too overwhelming. And again, it's a functional item. It's not going to sit here. We'll be able to still use it, but also enjoy it with the rest of the decor. I found these oil and vinegar dispensers that I thought would be perfect to display some coffee syrups. I loved the ribbed glass detail and also that rich wood tone pedestal that they came with. And I'm going to use a pumpkin spice syrup because 'tis the season, and then also a salted caramel syrup because I love salted caramel, and I also love that deeper brown tone of this syrup in particular, and I felt like it just really embodied what this fall color palette is. I love this as an aesthetic way to display functional everyday items, and this is one of my favorite things in this entire kitchen. I feel like they are just so beautiful and they work so well in this space. And then right next to them, purely decorative, I am going to add this statement vase. I love the green color of it because it's perfect for fall, but it also ties in with the green color of our entryway table, which you can see right around the corner from this space, and so it allows that cohesion and that flow through the entire house without detracting from what's going on in the kitchen as an individual area. I also really appreciated that these florals looked very similar to the floral pattern on the kitchen towels, so they complemented that as well, and they were incredibly realistic looking to me. I love the shape and the tone. I'm not even sure what flowers they are, but they almost look like peonies or English roses, and the greenery attached to them looks hyper realistic. These are the type of stems that you have to touch them to know that they are not real. Okay, so that is going to wrap up today's video. I hope that you all enjoyed decorating basically my entire house with me, and I hope that sharing these different spaces in my home, my method for decorating, how I do it on a budget was all helpful and inspirational to you. If you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That always helps to support my channel a ton, and subscribe if you aren't already. We have a lot of fun content coming for the rest of September and into October with little house projects and a lot of Halloween decorating. So make sure that you are subscribed so that you don't miss any of that. And don't forget to check out my description box where you can find the link to download Tester Up, or you can use the QR code here on screen. Download Tester Up and start playing games, reviewing them, and earning money so that we can decorate our homes without breaking the bank. So thank you so much to Tester Up for partnering with me and sponsoring today's video, and thank you guys for choosing to spend your time here today. It is not lost on me that you hang out with me whenever I post these videos when there are so many options here on the internet. So thank you for being here, thank you for supporting me, and I hope that I see you all in the next one. Bye!